continuing the rush to get all Season 2 IDs cleared, this week we start with Foxcliff. We grab the usual lineup of Zwei Sinclair and LCB Mersault for 20% damage reduction, alongside LCB Gregor for healing, and the Echirodia for stacking up blunt damage increase. Now, this week I was planning on getting Sloshmel and Rose Banner Mersault, just to get the Bandite ripped early through the 0-0 IDs, but due to some complications, I needed an easier run, and who's better from Season 2 IDs for a guaranteed fast run than Foxcliff? And yes, I said it. As of now, Foxcliff is probably the only ID that cannot be stopped by anything. And I mean anything. Being able to consistently have at least 5 protection for almost all attacks in a turn, alongside having extremely powerful counter that allows to cheese N-Corp nodes, since counters do not count as attack coin, making all the bleeds they stack useless, as well as just ability to resort to forcefully corroding if needed, makes him one of the most consistent solo clearers. Solo runners. He also perfectly fuels ADD, which technically is quite strong healing option, oftentimes giving you more health than you take thanks to all the protection you gain from sinking. Funnily enough, Foxcliff is also my best unit when it comes to piloting it, and I really like him, since if he didn't exist in the way he did, I would most likely never start my solo runs. So let's talk about his abilities real quick. His skill 1 is meant to lose clashes, while accelerating sanity loss. The thing is, in my experience, at least in solo, it is consistently worse than just opting for his counter. For a skill 1, it does deal pretty good damage, especially on meshed probabilities turns, where he's guaranteed to not roll heads. We also should try to use it on staggered parts as often as we can, since Envy is used by not only his own passive, but ADD itself, so having surplus of those resources is quite important. Skill 2 is tied for strength with skill 3. It rolls slightly lower number with its condition on that, but opts to have more hits and is a blunt damage type. It is also more offensively oriented skill than his skill 3 due to consuming sinking off of you, in case you're stuck with way too much of it from using skill 3 alongside your counter. And as a contrast, skill 3 is more defensive one, since it does give you 6 potency sinking with 3 counts, which guarantees setting up for lower sanity, as it will, at worst, drain 18 sanity per turn, and ensure we stay healthy with 5 protection, which, after all the bug fixes, now activates before you're hit. But with the filler skills out of the way, let's talk about the strongest skill Foxcliff has. His counter. Warning not only ignores speed, the biggest issue of Foxcliff in most cases, but also pretty much means we will only take full damage without protection in a turn just once. Additionally, it's Wrath, which means we have 4 Sin affinities to combine with various ego gifts, and Wrath counters are as of now the strongest since Phlebotomy Pack exists. And his counter deals a bit more damage than his skill 1, while being Pierce. Now with all that combined, we have 2 different damage options for both piercing damage and for blunt damage without counting egos. And if I did use Telepole, we would have Blunt and Piercing Ego, which just gives us extremely good coverage for enemies' weaknesses. But I opted for My Form Empty's Ego, since it's new, and that Ego surprisingly solidifies Foxcliff as the most consistent solo clearer. As before, we did not have enough healing options. There were few bosses that would be problematic. However, as you will see soon enough, that Ego invalidates them. Whew. Now that I stopped talking about how I love this unit and what makes it great, let's go back to the run. Through floor 1 we get Voodoo Doll and Mixed Side Divergence, which both are not bad, but by no means are they good for us. However, boss giving us Phlebotomy Pack, by default guaranteed we win this run no matter what. Yep, that's all we need. Anything from now on was a cherry on top. Last time I fought Glupo, I said it's a battle that is very scary, since it can drain our resources by forcefully corroding us. Apparently I lied. As long as your resources are low enough, feel free to corrode away, as any resources that moves into the negatives will restore to 0 at the end of the fight. I seriously can't keep up with how many niche cases are in the game sometimes. But with the newfound knowledge, we steamroll the Froggy and move on to the floor 4. And get Sticky Mac as a reward, which is quite good given our go-to moves are skill free and countered. In the shop, we get a skill swap, so we make sure to have even more of them now. As we go through floor 4, we get Smokes and Wires from Pekatula Fight, which are whatever. Blood, Sweat and Tears from an event node, which is pretty good. And Dawn is physically unable to tell the truth, failing us another event. And with that, we move on to floor 4 boss. K-Q-E. And this is the boss that initially, without Greycoat, could hold any progress for Foxcliff solos. But its biggest mechanic is now its biggest weakness. You see, My Form Empty's Ego has a passive. And that passive is really fucking useless. But it does have this very niche scenario in an already very niche run. At least as of now. We might get more bosses that actually stagger without reaching the stagger bar, like Cromer and Guido did in Canto 3. But KQE not only staggers you with its move, it staggers you 3 times in a row. Yup. After this passive was released, I started thinking, how exactly does stagger work? And it turns out, it seems you can only be staggered for 1 turn. And any move that supposedly staggers you for multiple turns can only do so by re-staggering you at the start of your turn. Which in short means, if KQE grabs you with its claw, he will activate My Form Empty's passive 3 times at the very start of the battle, making your health pool so large, the battle becomes trivial. Oh, also side note, Ego max HP scaling is multiplicative, and not based on your initial health, which makes it a bit better. Still completely useless in any other situation than this specific boss solo. So, while we slowly dish away damage, I want to thank you all for watching. Consider leaving a like and comment, I do enjoy reading all of them, even if I don't respond to all of them. We're almost halfway through with all Season 2 IDs, as tomorrow I'll try to get Sloshmel video out, and we'll only be left with 4 Rose Spanners and K-Corp Home Glue. And from that point onward I'll probably try the newest Walpurgi snacked identities as well, since they look quite interesting too. But for now, enjoy this fight and I'll be back right after. After all the circuits are burned, we grab Special Contract for a reward and Thorny Path from the shop, which begs to mention, as long as a skill inflicts sinking, even if it's only on yourself, it will apply extra sinking count on the enemies as well. Going through floor 5, we snap the tree as I cannot justify developing carpal tunnel over some health, and we don't want sanity from it. We get past few extra battles with Ego, get an extremely late Carmelia, and in final shop, we will be getting a 4-leaf Clover. With that, final boss is almost here. So with all that being said, enjoy!